Have you ever sat in a homeschool group and felt like you were speaking a completely different language? Everyone around you is talking about keeping things relaxed, following the child's lead, not pushing too hard, and you're just sitting there thinking, but what about mastery? What about excellence? What about consistency? What about actually finishing your work? If that's you, you're not crazy. And you're also not alone. Some of the most serious homeschool moms that I know feel completely isolated. And it's not because they're doing something wrong. It is because they are doing something difficult. So instead of just talking about why this happens, I want to talk about what to do about that. You've raised your standards. So the very first reason why homeschool moms start feeling alone is simply they've raised their standards. And I talk about that more in this video right here that you can see. So suddenly you have started caring about mastery, about consistency, about accountability, and about strong fundamentals. You do not just want your child exposed to something. You want them to actually learn something, to actually master the material. But here's the thing, that immediately puts you into a smaller group. So many homeschool conversations revolve around making things easier. And here's the thing, homeschooling is really hard. So we gravitate towards those conversations, right? It's so hard. Homeschooling is one of the hardest things that you are ever going to do if you are doing it correctly. So of course, we're going to try and figure out how to make this easier. But I believe the whole point is you're never going to be able to make it easier. You are trying to educate a whole person. And if you have more than one child, you're educating a lot of whole persons. And that is a huge task. So it's not going to be easy. But that difference alone can make you feel like you're never going to fit in. And you may not. You're playing the long game. The second reason why you may be feeling isolated is that you are playing the long game. You are not just thinking about today's mood, today's interest, today's energy. Instead, what you are thinking about is that you want your child to have the strongest reading ability, math fluency, work habits, discipline, high school readiness, and you are building something that takes years of consistency. So when you are thinking that way and when you are acting that way, a lot of the casual messaging in the homeschool space simply does not resonate. You want systems, not vibes. The third reason why you may be feeling lonely in the homeschool community is that you are not looking for inspiration anymore. You're looking for the systems to make the work happen. You want routines, you want high expectations, you want repeatability day after day after day, and you want structure. You do not want to have to reinvent your homeschool every Monday morning. And when you are surrounded by messaging that emphasizes flexibility, and when you are surrounded by messaging that influences flexibility over structure, it can definitely make you feel like the outlier. So what do you actually do when you realize that you are on a different path? Stop expecting a broad agreement. So here's the thing that you need to understand. You do not need other people to agree with you. You do not need constant reassurance, and you don't need validation from the majority of homeschool moms. Excellence in anything rarely has majority support. What you need is clarity about what you are building and why you are building it. Once you have that, you will stop being thrown off every time you encounter someone else who does something differently. Build your internal structure first. So before you focus on finding and building a like-minded community, you really need to have a few things in order in your own house. You need to make sure that you have clear, high expectations. You need to make sure that you have consistent routines. And maybe the most important one, you need to make sure that you have repeatable systems. Otherwise, you will end up drifting towards someone else's homeschool ideals, and chances are they're not going to match your own. When your homeschool is structured and rooted firmly, you are not going to be in danger of drifting towards what other people's ideas of homeschool look like, just because you're feeling a little bit tired. And that is really where systems become incredibly powerful. They ground you. Look for seriousness, not similarity. So here's the thing. You really do not need to make friends with people who use the exact same curriculum that you use. You don't need to find friends with the same personality. You don't even need to find people who teach the same way or have the same educational philosophy. There's more than one way to get this job done. What you need to be looking for are other homeschool moms who follow through, who are exercising consistency, who hold high standards, and who care about progress. That is what is going to actually create alignment. Shrink your circle intentionally. So this is where some freedom comes in. You do not need to build a huge group of women. In fact, large homeschool groups often make this feeling of loneliness even worse. Instead, start looking for one serious mother, then a second, then a third. They're out there, but always remember that depth matters more than numbers. A small circle of homeschool moms is always going to help you more than a large group that may sway you from your goals. Create structure-based connection. Another helpful tip that I have is to create connection around structure. So what this might look like. How about weekly accountability check-ins? How about texting each other at the end of the school day with what you got done? How about sharing progress? How about monthly academic review conversations? When you're connecting around execution, those friendships are really going to go deeper. You're no longer just talking about homeschool ideas and ideals. Now you are reinforcing real progress. Build community around execution and not philosophy. So this is so important. You really need to avoid getting into educational philosophy debates. And what do I mean by that? The classical debate versus Charlotte Mason versus unschooling. You know what I'm talking about. Don't participate in those. There are some great things in all of these philosophies. There are probably even some great things in the unschooling philosophy that I just don't want to read about. But here's the bottom line. Those conversations on educational philosophy rarely are going to move your homeschool forward. Instead, make those connections about consistency, completion, progress, follow through, the really important things. Create the environment you wish existed. Okay, so finally, don't be afraid to create your own community. Now, this is not going to be for the moms that have all young children. This is not going to be the moms who, finish homeschooling at 5 o'clock each night. You need to have a little bit of margin in your day and in your schedule and in your week in order to be able to pull off something like this. If you're not there yet, don't worry. You will be in a few years. Just keep plugging along. Here's an idea. You could always invite one family over for a monthly recitation time. This is great because it gives your children and the other family's children a chance to get up in front of people and practice whatever it is that they've been memorizing, whether that's a poem or whether that's some states and capitals. But this is great practice for our children, and it provides some accountability. If you give your children this, in 1 month, we're going to get together with the Smith family and you're going to recite this poem that you've been working on, that is going to give them an incentive to do it better because they're going to be doing it in front of their friends. So this is a great tool. How about hosting that monthly academic check-in? You can say, hey moms, come on over to my house, bring your checklist with you, and let's look at them together. Let's come up with ideas on how we can get certain things done that are not getting done, and let's keep each other accountable. That creates that same type of accountability I was just talking about for your child, but for you instead. This is a great thing to do. Remember, you don't have to wait for the perfect group to just show up. You can start creating it, and you can start small. This doesn't have to be a full-blown co-op or a full-blown school. You can start small with creating a monthly get-together for you and 1 or 2 other homeschool families and practice these. So one of the easiest ways that I have found to both strengthen the homeschool and attract other like-minded families is to make your expectations visible and repeatable. Because when your homeschool runs on clear daily expectations, your children are going to know what to do each day. The work is actually getting completed. Progress becomes visible and consistency becomes normal. This is exactly what the homeschool checklist protocol was designed to do. It gives you a simple, repeatable system so that your children know exactly what needs to be done every single day. And at the end of the week, you have clear proof that your homeschool is moving forward. Once you have that structure in place, it becomes so much easier to find and build community with other serious homeschool moms, because you are no longer just talking about having standards, you are living them now. So if you have been feeling alone because you are trying to take your homeschool more seriously, you're not imagining that. But you don't need to find a huge group. You don't need to find a homeschool co-op. You just need to find a small circle of women who are matching you in consistency and discipline. But that all starts with a homeschool that runs every single day. I'll see you in the next video.